LBR LBO Brand Summit 2017.
So yes, today we are talking about content marketing. And when you talk of content, I mean storytelling is something that comes to your mind. It is about stories. And we all grew up hearing stories. And there are magical 4 words with which most stories began with, if you remember our childhood. And those words are actually once upon a time, as we all know. So my story also begins with this once upon a time. So once upon a time, there was a country called India, it still is. And there used to be one channel and not this plethora and this multiplicity which you see today. It was a state-run channel, still is, still almost exists the same way. It's called Doordarshan, yeah? And it used to run this fabulously exciting programs like farmers' welfares and stuff like that, engrossing, exciting, really exciting, yeah? And in that, the only bright spot in our lives that in those days used to be a half-an-hour capsule called Chitrahar, where they used to have some Bollywood songs, you know. That was the oasis in our desert life of entertainment. Yeah, so that's Doordarshan for you, yeah. But today, interestingly, that's not the scene. That's not the scene here, that's not the scene in Sri Lanka, that's not the scene anywhere in the world. Today, there are actually, for all of us, so many interesting things to do. Like take a selfie from this angle, from top angle, all kinds of things. You get people who come to bomb a selfie, which is called photo bombing, all of this. There are interesting things to do, really, really interesting places to go to. And if you can't find what is interesting about this place, look again, give it a hard, long stare, and you'll know why it's so interesting. Yeah? Other things also, you know, there's so much novelty to explore. I mean, food, cuisine, all of that. We used to have our rice dal at home. But today, even if the food they serve is the same, let's change the decor, let's change the ambience. Let them sit in those kind of seats. Yeah? So that's interesting. Yeah? There's a lot of novelty to explore. So much to be surprised with. I mean, did the giraffe really do it? Google it, man. Who knows? Yeah? Again, so much to marvel at. So much to marvel at. Toilets and loos and interesting things. All of that. So much also to speculate about. What's the story of the impala and those cheetahs? If you know, that really went viral. What was the photographic genius? Was it an act of kindness? Was it an act of defiance? The whole world suddenly starts thinking about all of these. There are lots which are occupying our attention. You know, we all grew up seeing, actually not all of us grew up seeing too many cartoon networks, but today if you look at it, the kind of cartoon characters you are having amplifying. So many cartoon characters, so many characters to follow. Yeah, and so much to laugh at actually, you know, so much to laugh at, yeah. That's the world which we live in today. Interestingly, there's also so much to look forward to, you know. In this case, backwards obviously, but there is so much to look forward to. And again, so much to catch up on. Which season, did he get killed, who is finally alive, a Game of Thrones, all of that. So basically what we are trying to say is, today, there are so many things to do in real life, which mostly was not the case many years back, and all of us, people who at least belong to that generation, will easily agree to that. There are things to do in real life. There are people to fall in love with. There are relationships to get into. There are families to take care of. There are Bollywood or Hollywood celebrities to follow and to see what the gossip is. Far more interesting things, you know. And if you're the romantic kind, you know, you can also, you know, crack some Horcruxes in between with Harry Potter and all of that. So if you envisage a football match going on between real life and advertising, you know, I mean, this is a very underestimated score. It probably will be real life 100, advertising 2. Actually it will be zillion, real life zillion, and advertising 5, 10, 15. It will be really that. That's the kind of imbalance which exists. And why does this imbalance exist? Because real life, which is all about the interesting food, the interesting people, the interesting animals, the interesting places, all of that actually makes advertising look dull. Really dull. Yeah? That's what it does. That's what it does. And that will continue to happen unless something changes. Unless advertising stops interrupting what people are really interested in and becomes what people are interested in. And that exactly is the reason why content is king today. Why we are here today and discussing this. That's the reason why content is king. Because content is that bridge that can kind of make that deficit of 100 to, you know, it can bridge that gap, bridge that deficit. Because content is what makes advertising powerful. Content is what gives brands, kind of a mileage which normal advertising probably cannot give, That's what it's all about, If you look at marketing, marketing is all about telling the world that you're a rock star. All of us as marketers tend to do that. But if you look at content marketing, it's about showing the world that you're a rock star. That's what you are. If you look at some of the biggest companies in the last 15, 20 years, largest companies today, they didn't exist just 20 years ago. Companies like YouTube, Google, Yahoo, Facebook, Twitter, they didn't exist 15, 20 years ago. And why is that? And the one thing that is common also to these huge companies is the fact that they're all about information, they're all about content, So one little slide about the difference, and I'm sure you have gone through a lot of it and but just one slide. The difference between traditional and content is the whole thing about telling versus giving, monologue versus dialogue, generalized versus personalized, stationary versus shareable, Because if it's good content, you'll share. Brand messages, come on, that's not worth sharing, So I was told to talk about the opportunities and challenges of content marketing. The opportunities are really immense. And I want to share the opportunities through 3 stories. 3 stories is what I'll share. Short stories, sweet stories. The first one, the story is called The Open Letter. I'm sure most of you may be aware of it, but for the people who are not, it's all about an open letter. Is it possible that with one stroke, you can befriend your competition and at the same time actually embarrass him? Is it possible that you can leverage a special day and at the same time be remembered forever? Is it possible to be seen as progressive and to make the others and the competition seem as regressive? To not compete and actually attempt to collaborate at one hand, but yet win. Is it possible? To create a new product and yet do good for society. Is it possible? All of this. If there were any possibilities of hitting many birds with one stone, this is what it is. This is the case which did that. It all started with an open letter from Burger King to McDonald's saying that on World Peace Day, let's end the fight between us. Let's join hands. You send your people, we'll send our people. You bring your burger, we'll bring your burger. We'll come together and you have your Mac and we have our Whopper and together we'll create the Mac Whopper. What a fantastic idea. And all it needed was an open letter to seed the content in. The case will talk for itself, so I'll just play the video for you. That's the power of an idea. That's the power of a content.
Story you guys have been waiting for.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw this.
Yes.
This is the New York Times today. There was an ad that was taken out by Burger King
to McDonald's when Burger King
asks McDonald's to join forces
to create the ultimate burger.
The McWhopper.
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 Thank you, Hooper.
McWhopper.
Proceeds would benefit the nonprofit called Peace One Day.
The letter invited readers to McWhopper.com, a multilingual microsite and a hub for consumers and media to source and share a variety of campaign assets. A media kit in disguise.
Corporate activation on this scale creates mass awareness.
We designed a proposed pop-up restaurant, the packaging, even the staff uniforms.
Social media is dining out on McWhopper. It's everywhere.
And you gotta love this. Burger King has extended the olive branch in McD's own backyard.
Sadly, McDonald's CEO nixed the idea.
We love the intention, but think our 2 brands could do something bigger to make a difference. P.S. A simple phone call will do next time.
What an
Are they stupid? McDonald's.
But everyone else said yes. Inspired by our online burger build film, the DIY McWhopper was born.
And if you're looking to make the McWhopper a reality, you'll just have to take matters into your own hands. To date, thousands of do-it-yourself McWhoppers have been created and shared on social media.
Why isn't this a real thing?
So this is the first time I've ever eaten a burger for world peace. I mostly just eat them because I'm hungry.
Meanwhile, 4 other restaurant chains raised their hands for peace.
They combined a whole bunch of different amazing sandwiches to make one super amazing sandwich.
You got big major corporations doing that, why not small people? We can do the same thing,
Peace out. Peace out.
$8.9 billion media impressions. It's won everything across the world. And what makes me feel proud is, in a very little weird way, I'm part of the network, part of the company which did it. It's our same Rediffusion, Wayanad, the network in New Zealand that did this. So that was the first story. Coming to a story which we did ourselves in Wayanad, India. And this story is called Roadside Romeos. Yeah? But before we get into why we are calling it Roadside Romeos, let's just think. Can a campaign with zero media spend, and literally zero media spends, reach its target audience and only its intended audience? Is it possible to reach an audience that is constantly on the move? You said, yeah, it's possible. But no, it's not just they're constantly on the move. They're constantly on the move in remote highways that are media dark. Is it possible to reach them there? How is it possible? Can the recipient of a marketing message simultaneously be the transmitter of that same message? Is it possible? And you will see how one case study, one example, how all this is possible. And this is the best part about this case. Normally, how does communication work? You are a brand, you put out your message out there, and people react to that message. But is it possible that the message is already out there? The message exists in the outside world. You just come in as a brand and leverage that message and give it a new context and own the message by just being that. The message is already out there. Let me tell you that. That's the most important thing. And lastly, if not the least, what business does the country's largest truck maker have with making condoms? Aren't they better off making chassis and engines? This is the case of Tata Motors, used dipper at night. I'll play the video. You'll understand everything about it.
6 million trucks on Indian roads have this message painted at the back. Use dipper at night, which inspired us to create a new condom brand, Dipper. Tata Motors, India's largest truck manufacturer, wanted to promote safe sex amongst truck drivers in India, across the second largest roadway in the world. The journeys get lonely. Research proves that 2 million truck drivers visit sex workers. AIDS awareness was low. We wanted to reach the truckers in remote locations where no media or internet could, in a language they understood best. This line, which means dip headlights at night, became the message. We created a special range of condoms called Dipper, using truck art, a part of the Indian highway culture. These condoms were manufactured by HLL Lifecare Limited, India's leading contraceptive provider, and distributed by TCI Foundation at health clinics, service centers, highway eateries, petrol pumps, and convenience stores. In a condom wallet. As a result, truckers reminded one another to use Dipper at night, with zero media spent. The journey of a trucker still continues, but there's a difference. They are now protected from one of the deadly perils of the highway. An initiative by Tata Motors. Have a safe journey.
You know, they say with leadership and with power comes responsibility. And Tata Motors is the undisputed leader in the trucking industry in India. And therefore, the whole safe well-being of drivers is very important. This is one activity. Tata Motors is doing many, many other activities for the welfare of the drivers. To do it as a leadership stance, you know, and aids, because they are roadside Romeos. They stay away from homes for hours, ages, days. They don't have any other entertainment. So that's the reality of their lives. You have to understand that, sympathize with that. And then they're not even very knowledgeable about language. What language will you communicate to them in? So this is something which they understand. The whole thing of dipper, which is just to dip headlights at night. That's what, and the whole power of this story is that we could have easily just distributed any other condoms and tried to do a AIDS education program. We didn't do that. We tied up with Hindustan Latex and we actually marketed and produced a brand called Dipper Condoms. That's the power of the idea, because that's what gives that outside message. You know, there are non-Tata trucks going on the way. So even those become your media. You own that media. You know, as a trucker, you are reading the message and you're also carrying that message for the truck guy behind you to read that same message. That's the power of this idea. Again, it won many, many awards, many, many things, but it won hearts mostly, and that's mostly important. It's a campaign which we believe that it's a marketing game changer, which almost threw almost every marketing rule book out of the window. The kind of questions which I asked at the beginning, you know. So yes, we are in a seminar where content is king, but this example shows if content is king, context is God. So can we give, the little context to that content? That was an example of that. My last story, which again is also a little bit about context, is what I call Don't Call Me a Battery. Again done by our office. Let me tell you, let me begin by saying, in terms of idea, in terms of brilliance, in terms of its execution, it's nowhere compared to McWhopper, the burger thing, or even Dipper at Night. Nowhere. But there's a reason why I still chose this. Because it's all about opportunity marketing. It's all about keeping your eyes and ears open. It's all about reacting and responding to a market stimulus, So what do the following things have in common? Yeah? A movie trailer, a local derogatory idiom, India's largest battery brand, and King Khan, SRK, Shah Rukh Khan. Of course, the connection with him and the movie trailer was easy, but the others are not so easy, yeah? So his film was coming out. It was a film called Rise, where he was a bootlegger, yeah? And throughout the film, and it just happened as it is. The way I'm telling you, the idea was born like that. So there was somebody who was sitting in his home and he happened to stumble upon this trailer. Somebody who worked on a brand of batteries called Excite. This was not there, by the way. This battery nahi bolne ka was not there in that poster. Yeah, it was not there. Yeah, so the trailer had something where things happen to Shah Rukh Khan. He's doing stuff. He's normally okay. But the moment somebody calls him a battery, he gets very angry. He kills the person. And he's obviously a villain in this movie. And battery, by the way, is a street slang, is a derogatory way of calling someone who wears a spectacle, is a way of laughing at somebody who wears chashma or spectacle, So that's what battery is. Even we didn't know about it, actually, yeah? But we saw the movie, we saw the storyline, and we said, boss, this is a great opportunity. This is all about being off the moment. Can we be off the moment? And we said, it's our opportunity to appropriate the category. And we came out with communication which said, battery nahi bolne ka, don't call me battery, sirf Excite bolne ka, call for Excite. So we appropriated the category, and this is the little, again, in terms of execution, nowhere close to this, but it's all about jumping at the opportunity. One trailer led to this.
Hey, battery.
Hey, battery.
Battery nahi bolne.
सिर्फ एक्साइट बैटरी बोलने जो चले ज्यादा और दमदार ज्यादा. Excite, proud partner of Rise.
Yeah, so as I said, it's just about the timing, it's just about the opportunity. And really, there are endless opportunities in content marketing. The only thing you need to do, keep your eyes and ears open and your mind ticking. And lastly, since I was told to cover the challenges, I'll quickly go through some of them, There is an ROI issue which comes up, is there enough ROI? Is there proof of that ROI? Then, of course, like you saw, that Excite communication could have got far better, but we had to respond in small time. What we gained is, it just cost some 40 lakhs. And if you have to get Shah Rukh to endorse your brand, it will be some 3, 4, 5 crores. So we got the cost effectiveness, but the time and the execution, you have to react fast, So those are things, So there is a quality and consistency issue. Can you keep delivering that? Again, can you keep delivering content that cuts through the noise to capture the attention? Again, there's another issue of maintaining the brand voice. Yes, the content is there, but is it speaking in the voice of the brand? Yeah? And of course, even creating content and good content today is not enough. You still have to push it and distribute it. That has become increasingly expensive, So those were some of the challenges. The opportunities, as I said, I showed. The power of the content to reduce the deficit between 100 and 2. That's what it is finally all about. So hope you liked my content. Hope, and one last thing before I leave, and if you remember any of my stories, any of these case studies, so do one thing, please, this is a request. Then when you are either driving at night or driving at home, please use Dipper at night. Yeah? That's it. Thanks.